Hey, Shalom. Barakatah Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashem Hachadash. Double honors to the head apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to brothers on the highways and byways doing the work sincerely and faithfully and continually fighting that good fight of faith. Lord willing, we're finding that number to be delivered. All right? So Lord willing, this is edifying. And I believe this one's going to be a good one. It's going to be quick. So check it out, right? Let's start here. Whenever an individual was told information within this government and in this elite realm of men and so on and so forth, whenever they was told something, what was the end result of these people? They were put on ice. No pun intended, right? So, for example, Aaron Russo. Aaron Russo was the individual who was hobnobbing with one of the Rockefellers. And he was told by one of the Rockefellers that, the end game was to have everybody chipped. And Aaron Russo was like, well, he wasn't with that. So, of course, Aaron Russo then goes out and starts telling the story. One thing led to another. That was it. He was put on ice and never to be seen again. Now, he died on August 24th, 2007, right? Because he was somewhat what they call a major whistleblower. I mean, he was talking to one of the top ranked family members in the world. All right? So he was done away with. And then we had John Todd, who was also known to be a conspiracy theorist, right? And John Todd, he was known for, I will say this, he was like an insider. He would get information from some elites, whoever they were, and publish it, make people aware of what's happening and so on and so forth. Well, again, as you acquire information, you don't keep your mouth shut, they're going to put you on ice. All right? So then John Todd ended up dying in November of 2007. All right? So roughly 4 months apart, where these two have been, put on ice because they were, divulging information that shouldn't have been let out. But this is how the elites work. This is what they do. Now, let me go here. This dude here, David T. Crowley. Do you know who this man is? All right. This is the man who was a filmmaker. And he was a filmmaker of one of the most dramatic trailers that we've seen, in the mid, 2017, 2016, right around that time period. He had that movie, that trailer, The Gray State. All right. So let's talk about this man for a quick minute, right? Let's talk about him because as we just highlighted, Aaron Russo and Mr. Todd, they were put on ice because they were whistleblowers, if you will. Now let's talk about this guy, David Crowley. He was in the military, right? And with that being said, we don't know to what extent he knew people or who he was juiced in with, but I believe that this man was juiced in some kind of way. All right? So let me go from here. Let's go to this quick clip here. All right? This is the Gray State clip where in the beginning, it's going to give you a heading. Now we're going to pay close attention to this heading. Now stay with me now. All right? Let's play it. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use. Again, I got a strike because I was using some material. It wasn't really a strike, it was a warning. I had to take a goddamn test in order for the warning to be knocked off. But again, this is fair use. The general public has the right to use this information for informational purposes only. All right? For educational purposes only. And I'm just giving you brothers a heads up. Real quick side note: when I did take that test that they offer you to get rid of that warning, right? It gives you 5 questions, but it also explains when you're using certain material, as long as you identify the material, identify what its purpose is, they won't be able to mess with you. All right? So, this material that I'm using is from a trailer called Gray State, and it's educational purposes about, uh, bad times. All right, so let's play this clip real quick, and I'm gonna stop it on the heading. Let's stop right there. Now listen, look what it says now. It says Minnesota filmmaker David Crowley has a vision for America. All right, Minnesota. Now, as we start to paint this picture, now you can understand what this man was trying to tell the world, or America, what was about to come. All right? This ain't no coincidence. This is not no coincidence that all of a sudden this filmmaker from Minnesota based this film in Minnesota. All right? Now, we started off with how, insiders get information and they start talking. Now, as we play this clip a little further, he's going to be asked a question. But look at this man's face, this dude, David. Look at his face. He understands and knows he done effed around and effed up for telling information. Just watch his face. Ready? He called it Gray State.
What is Gray State?
Now I want to pause there. All right. So the question was, what is Gray State? Now, you people can say whatever you want. It's, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're reading into it. But look at the state of what's happening right now. Everything that this man has put in his trailer is happening in Minnesota. All right? So I believe that this man was juiced in. I believe somebody told him what was going to be going down in the future in Minnesota. And I believe he took that information and decided to run with it. And I also believe that they warned him, don't do it, don't talk about it. But the old saying in America is, once you pass that point of no return, you can't stop. All right? Now, again, what happened with this man? He, his wife, and his young child were all put on ice. All right? So, again, let's look at this man's face.
What is Gray State?
That's not a face of a director or a producer who's, making a movie. A lot of them come with a lot of enthusiasm, but I think he understood the dire consequences that he was going to face by speaking on this movie that he made. All right? So, now from there, let me go here, right?
Array just took.
Okay, this is gonna.
Array just. Who had? Array.
Okay, this is.
What that you say?
Right. This is what's going on in Minnesota. This is what's going on in Minnesota. All right? These military troops and tanks and Humvees, they're moving in. Okay? They're actually riding through the streets of Minnesota. So now, with that being said, right? Let's go here. Let's go to the actual Gray State trailer. Now I'm going to take it back to the beginning. It's 2 minutes long. We may not play the whole thing, but keep in mind, this is going on in Minnesota. was to say it happened while you were sleeping. And this is how Esau also moves, in the cover of darkness. All right, but let's play some more. Fair use, fair use, fair use. All right, there you got surveillance. There you got the martial law. You got RFIDs mentioned. Okay, so let's stop there. It says here in the news article on TV, it says QE4 announced. Federal Reserve attempts to stop hyperinflation. It says new iPhone trackers tells you where your, and as it scrolls across, let's play it, where your children, okay? So it mentioned iPhone trackers. What does it say here? Martial law declared. National Guard deploys to quell rioting. Cash to buy weapons. RFID chip manufacturers. Let me see what else it says. Working overtime to fulfill orders. All right? RFID manufacturers are working overtime to fulfill orders. So these are all the unsettling things that are going on in this Gray State movie, which are now being played out in Minnesota as we speak. Let's continue. Those who panic die first. All right, so here you have the insurrection, the people fighting up against the military. Okay, because Trump said what? They're going to enact the Insurrection Act, which is now going to give what? The military the rule and dominion over the city. All right? Let's check it out. How long can we resist? All right? Now, what are we watching here? What are we watching? They're busting down doors, right? Isn't that exactly what's been going on? They busting down doors. Check it out.
Immigration attorneys are demanding ICE release a man who was arrested after agents used a battering ram to get inside his home in Minneapolis.
And as Fox 9 investigator Paul Bloom tells us tonight, the man's legal team says ICE did not have a judicial warrant when they broke down his door.
Sunday morning, North Minneapolis. An agitated crowd gathered as federal agents
See that?
battered their way into the
Battering their way through the door.
While an
Okay.
Associated Press photographer captured this.
You see what's happening? It's the very same thing that's playing out in the Gray State, right? In Minnesota. All the people getting angry, tired of being, putting, look at, they're yelling and screaming just like the real thing. Yep. You got the you see those military tanks and them tanks moving in, just like what we saw in that other clip. Under the shadow of night, they're rolling in them Humvees because they're setting the troops up. The minute Donald Trump enacts that Insurrection Act, it's going to be on. And you're going to see droves of people coming out angry, protesting, insurrection. This man was trying to tell us something. He was trying to tell the American people something. He knew something that he wanted to express, and it cost him his wife and his child. Yep. Now, isn't that what they was doing? Now, I was going to show it. But isn't that what happened? They gunning people down in the streets. Again, this man, David Crowley, knew something. This wasn't no coincidence. This wasn't something that he just said, let me go make this kind of movie. And all of a sudden, everything's playing out exactly how this movie was, in the same state. Now, look at this here. You see? So all that being said, this is what's happening, man. Now again, we've been watching this film, this trailer, for a very long time. This started back in 2016, 17, right around there. Here it is, 2026. And now the Spirit just jumped on me to revisit this. Excuse me, the Spirit jumped on me to revisit this. And come to find out, this is all taking place in Minnesota. What are the chances of that being this? What are the chances of that playing out the very same way it was in this trailer that is right now in present day? All right, so this ain't no damn coincidence, man. This shit is ready. They ready. Okay, they ready. It says he was born 1985, died December 2014. He was from Apple Valley, Minnesota. All right. So again, we of the hopeful elect, we've been given the spiritual eye salve to see and understand these things as the Lord has commanded us to do so. Ephesians 5:16, it says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right. These times that we're coming into are about to get very evil. Now, if this movie Gray State, this trailer Gray State, if it has any inkling that it's going to play out in the same fashion as it's already started, because remember now, we're at the beginning of this thing. The people still haven't fully been, charged up to have that insurrection. There's going to be more to come. There's going to be more slayings in the street. There's going to be more doors knocked down. And it's just going to get the people into a frenzy. It's going to get the people into a very state of being totally, uncontrollable. And that's why that military is going to be there. I was watching Elder Yashawamba's lesson that he was highlighting Captain Tazariak in the cat. And again, the cat was asking Captain Tazariak, if he liked the immigrants, right? Now, anybody that's been on this planet and anybody that knows who we are and what we do and how we represent the 12 tribes of Israel, who make up the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and, and so on and so forth. Why would you ask this man, how do you feel about, the immigrants, if you like the immigrants? When the immigrants that they're picking off is Israelites, man. Excuse me. The immigrants that they're taking up are Israelites. Okay? So these evil days that are coming, man, they're not slacking. And Elder Joshua Wama made a good point. He said he should have answered him, that's not our fight, which is not. But at the same time, what he also should have told that man, because he said, yeah, are you going to allow them to take him? Captain Tazariak said, well, it all depends. What do you mean it depends? If that man or woman is in the lot that the Lord put him in, then there ain't going to be a damn thing we can do. We're going to go out there and start fighting ICE. Nah, you ain't taking him. He's coming with us. Anybody that gets taken up or swept up or taken away, it's all by the hand of Yahweh Shai. That's why we hope and pray without ceasing that the Lord have protection around his men. But if somebody gets taken, the Lord wanted that person to get taken. We ain't gonna sit there and be out there protesting and fighting, trying to grab somebody's arm while ICE is pulling one arm, we're pulling the other arm. Absolutely not. May the Lord protect and watch over his servants that they don't fall into these diverse manners of evil, man. That's what that's all about. Talking about, yeah, it depends on what kind of situation it is. Man, if that man is in the lot that the Lord put him in and he's going to be taken, then he's going to get taken. That's the Lord's decision. All right? Let's continue on. Revelation 12:12 says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. All right? And it's starting in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. That woe is starting right there in Minnesota, man. It says, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath. You know, when they start, bodying people in the streets in broad daylight, what do you think? What do you think you're going to do? And I saw another video where these two girls was following this ice cruiser, and they stopped. Them dudes came back to their car and was like, yo, we're going to give you one warning. You keep following us, we're going to come back here, break your window, and pull you out. And they laughing and shit. See, it's all fun and game till somebody gets fucking, popped. So you people better take this shit serious, man. You better take this real serious. All right? Your life is going to be on the line out here. If you choose to protest, if you choose to be a part of something that's going on in this world, the fashions according to this world, if you choose to be a part of that, you better be ready to deal with some heavy consequences. The Lord's not going to have his servants out there trying to defend America and trying to defend somebody. We are the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And the Spirit of the Lord is going to give us direction in that time that we're going to be able to abide according to the Spirit and move according to the Spirit, how the Spirit wants us to move. But one thing's for damn sure, we are not going to be on no goddamn front line protesting, let them go, get out of town. No, And some Israelites are going to do that. We've already seen it. We've seen a lot of Israelite groups out there protesting. A nigga gets shot and killed in the street. Now you're going to go hold their mother and hold on to their mother and circle around her and say, yeah, this isn't right. Well, if you're saying it ain't right, that means you're saying the Lord ain't right. This thing is about to go down. Yahweh Shem Yahushai style. Right? Enough is enough, man. 2 Ezra 15:17, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Now again, they're gonna set up martial law, and over there in Minnesota, they're gonna set that up. And you ain't coming in or you ain't going out of that bad boy. And that's just what it's gonna be. They're gonna totally lock that whole shit down. But once that lockdown takes place, then you're gonna see, because people are gonna be held against their will. This is what martial law is going to do to them. Right? And then you're going to start seeing these other states forming their militias, forming their protesting groups, forming all these groups. All right? Until all of America is consumed with this whole thing. And it's going to be consumed. All right? But at the end of the day, they're going to put what? They're going to put you American citizens in a chokehold. They're going to make you tap right out. You're going to tap out, and then you're going to be compliant with what these devils want via the RFID chip. All right? So don't think that this is going to be something that's just going to pass by and it's going to be back to normal. Woo! we've all banded. They're going to tell you we're going to band together to, save Minnesota and save all the people that they're taking. It's a wrap, man. Can't you people see and tell that this is the end? We are coming to the end. We are here. But as it's written in the book of Proverbs, you have set at naught all the Lord's counsel. All right? 2 Ezra 6:22, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. And these things are going to be a domino effect or ripple effect. All right? There was at one point in time that Minnesota was a sown place. Now it's becoming unsown. All right? And that's going to germinate. That's going to germinate to the following states, the next states. It's going to start going throughout the whole 4 quarters of the earth, but primarily here in America. All right? It's going to be an unsown place. You ain't going to be able to roam them streets anymore. You ain't going to be able to walk around. And that goes for anybody, not just no goddamn immigrants. That goes for anybody, especially they of the house of Israel, the Israelites. You ain't going to be able to come and go as you please. Now, I remember many years ago, I did a lesson and I was looking at a couple articles that they had put in place throughout the years. And they were saying that any elected official, any minority elected official during that time will be removed from their office. So again, if you think you're going to sit there and write to your congressmen and write to your selectmen, your governors and mayors, anybody who is of Native American, Negro, and Hispanic descent, you will be removed out of your place. Not only will you be removed, but most likely they're going to stuff you in some kind of camp. Internment camp, as they like to call them. All right? So this shit is going down, man. I'm going to finish off with Psalms 146:3. It says, put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Because at the end of the day, you're screaming for help. You want these people out of your neighborhood. You want them out of your city. You want them out of your state. But you're screaming to the very people that you're screaming to help for. You're screaming to have them out, but they're the very ones that can help you. And they're not going to help you. And this is why we trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. We hope and pray that the Lord's will be done as it will. All right? And going back to what Captain Tazariak was talking about, clearly, they're accepting anybody that looks like them, that may be from the same area. You can't let everybody into your circle, man. Look at Yahweh Shai. Who gave up Yahweh Shai? Judas Iscariot, one of his own. All right? One of his own. So you got to be circumspect and be ready, to, have a spiritual, mindset when the cat come up talking, asking all kinds of crazy questions, man. Because one of your own will be your downfall. They are not all Israel which are of Israel. They are not all brothers who are brothers. You see? And this is the type of shit that's going to get a lot of you men caught out there. You don't need to be talking to anybody outside of this thing of ours. Niggas want to come up and ask all kinds of questions and questions that you should already know the answer to. Don't come up around us trying to get slick, trying to say, oh yeah, let me see what they're going to say. Because you come around here messing with the men of Great Millstone, you're going to get yourself dealt with spiritually. You're going to cut you behind the pieces, man. We're not looking for anything outside of what the Lord has already given us. All right. So Lord willing, this was edifying. You know, like I said, this man David Crowley was trying to tell the American people what was actually going to start and become the start of the downfall of this society right there in Minnesota. That movie Gray State, when you when you go to that trailer, let me see if I can get that trailer. Let me see. Where's that trailer? Right here. Now at about 110, the woman on the news says the president, let me see if I can hear it again. This already played. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can hear it.
Since last night's declaration of martial law, soldiers are moving into secure key areas.
In response to UN presence in Minneapolis.
United States president deemed Minneapolis, something to that effect. But it's just going to show you and prove to you that these things are taking place right there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right. So again, Lord willing, this was edifying. It was some information that we never even looked at, because we just looked at the film as, something that's going to be happening in the future, which is correct, but it's happening in Minneapolis as we speak. So Lord willing, with that, I'm going to see you brothers in another one. I'm going to say shalom.